Greetings, Mother of Magic.
Dear magical child, I receive you and hold you in my arms. What do you desire of me today?
Please help me remember myself and help me remember all your children.
Very well. I will sing the song you have forgotten, and that yet you know so very well. The song I put into your bones. Close your eyes and be still. Now, little novice, remain still, breathe and trust.
I place my trust in you, Mother of Earth.
Know yourself. Know the wind that comes in and out of your lungs. Feel the water deep within, the rivers of your blood, the pools within the cells, the flow of everything within. Hear the sound of your bones, cousin to crystal and stone, elements of earth. Sense the centers of fire within, in the pan of the sacral, in the sun at your diaphragm, in the furnace that is your heart, in the trillions of mitochondrial generators. Sense the faithfulness of the warmth that constitutes your aliveness.
Yes, Ancient Mother. I hear and know the world that is within me, and that is me.
Now, with your eyes closed, what do you hear?
I hear the chittering of a squirrel. I hear the breeze in your leaves. I hear the faint sounds of traffic from faraway highway. I hear a bell, way in the distance, perhaps a church bell ringing. Ah, such beauty.
What do you smell?
I smell the sun, warming and calling fragrance from the grass, and old leaves underfoot.
What touches?
The fabric of my clothing, pebbles and tiny sticks at the soles of my bare feet.
Thus you observe the world that surrounds you and the friendlies you are encountering from this point in the earth.
It's all really cool.
Indeed, life is very cool. Now notice, as you are now highly aware of the encounters surrounding you through the sense channels of your body, now hold that awareness gently, eyes remaining closed. Understand that awareness as an intertwining holographic web of beings and joy. And now, move your awareness from the sense encounters coming from without completely letting go of the connection, and come to notice the sensation within.
Oh, I see.
Indeed, your eyes are closed, and yet you see. What is your sensation of this moment?
I sense well-being.
Yes, in this you understand the original language. What other sensation is within?
I sense my connection, the squirrel and the pebbles, and with each thing uniquely, and all things together, like melodies coming together into harmony.
Indeed, you are knowing the earth and its children. Choose one of the beings and greet them from within with trust and well-being.
With my voice?
As you wish, but you do not need it. That is, the magic, the influence of your voice will leave your body with or without your throat.
All right. I will reach out silently this time. I will open my eyes and choose some meeting. Okay. Hello, Brother Squirrel. Oh, look at that. It stopped for a moment and looked straight at me.
Of course it did. You were loud.
Aw, it ran away.
I repeat, you were loud.
I only spoke from inside. Should my silence have been quieter?
Sometimes. You will learn. Each individual responds to greeting in their own way. It's not a button to push. You must be willing to be patient to know them as individuals. However, often a gentle greeting is best.
I will learn. Mother, there are other sensations within me.
I am listening.
Tired and aching sensations. Some fear. I don't understand all the sensations, but they are just there.
Ah, yes. Well, you have lived long enough to gather burdens. Lived long enough to believe the words of binding enchantments that were said over you, whether intentional or not. You may, over time, greet and give grace to each of these sensations. Be in no hurry with yourself. But for this moment, let us do this. Close your eyes once more. Bring your awareness to the place where the soles of your feet touch the surface of the earth.
Yes.
Allow whatever sensation is ready to go to pass freely through your feet. I will receive your sorrows. Release a burden. It is no burden to me, for you are my child. The energy will neutralize within me and transform to become of service within the totality of life. In this moment, experience yourself as neutral and open. Breathe.
Yes. Mother, now that some of the burden has left me, there is another sensation.
I am listening.
I want to say hi to the bell.
Ah, this is affinity, my child. You and the bell are desiring one another.
The bell desires me?
Yes, it already said hello. You heard.
Yes, I heard. The sound of the bell makes me smile.
Which makes me smile. My children loving one another. Magician, let us visit another place. Close your eyes again. Come with me. Go deeper. Breathe and still until you can touch the ancient within you. Listen, and you will find that you are being listened to.
It is the darkest of darkness, Mother. It is an infinite ocean, a vast dark sky. It is a cool dark that eases all ills. It is a warm dark, as if the cover where meets their beloved and giggles together.
You are the beloved of this ancient. She has laughed you and caused you to be known in the world.
I am held. There are no words.
Indeed, be in no hurry. Remain in this ancient dark and allow the seed to find you. When it tickles you, drink it in.
It is like a tiny sparkle, tapping to be let in.
Let it in and hold it precious. Be present with the sensation of it. Let it be and let it be born.
How will it be born, Mother?
Here is the interlacing of the motion of eternal desire, with your unique affinity. It will be born from fire and from water and from air and from earth. It will be born from your eye and from your voice and from your hand. You will influence the elements with your powers of body, and the world will change. Be in no hurry. Listen until the language of the seed becomes clear to you. What does it tell you that it is and is to be?
Ah, I understand it. It is a bell.
Wonderful. Magician, there are many bells in the world already.
Oh, yes. Perhaps I should not conjure another.
Now, there are many bells, yes. Which bell is there not?
I I don't know.
You do know. I am in no hurry. I will be with you until the answer becomes clear.
This bell. The bell within me.
Yes, magician, let this bell be born into the world to join its family.
What do I do?
The eyes of your body are still closed. Within, unfold the seed and let it become sight. Magician, what has come to sight within?
Ah, I see something.
I am listening.
It is so beautiful. It is a handbell, but one larger and heavier than usual. The handle is firm and polished, and has rich wood color. The bell portion is substantial yet graceful. The metal color is muted, still appealing. Ah, and I hear the sound. The song of this bell. It is clear and mid-range, and the echoes of the ring remains. Oh, mother, mother, I see even more.
I am listening.
A woman is holding this bell. She walks out to the balcony and rings the bell. The people below turn to the sound. They are smiling, and the sound of the bell has invited them to peace. The woman will teach now. That bell has begun the time.
Understand that what you are seeing is not prediction, but possibility. The actual bell will find its own way through its own earth adventures.
I understand.
Understand that you see a possible appearance and also possible enchantment. The sound of the bell may enchant its listeners into a reminder of our original language.
I will make this bell?
You are magic, little one. Now let us begin the magic. Your eyes are closed. Open your eyes on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Novice, what is your sight without? What do you see?
Oh, looky here. I notice a length of wood on the ground, over there. It is about as long as my forearm. Ooh, cool. It's a bit heavy. It has an interesting shape. The bark is still rough.
This wood dropped from me last year. It was on its way back into the earth, a worthy destiny. But it seems it may have another destiny. The log has been there since you arrived, but it is in this moment that you see, and therefore it appeared. You say you see a log of wood. Let the sight within become the sight without. What do you really see, magician? What does your hand hold?
Oh, this is the handle of my bell.
Yes, it seems so. May I offer a small reminder that this venerable being within your hand is willing to serve you and your desire and your sight? Together you will change and add to the world. I invite you to recognize this.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, beautiful wood. Hey, I think it's smiling back at me. Mother,
Yes.
this is not the whole bell.
What is next, do you think, novice?
I still have a lot to learn. I don't really know about bells.
Indeed. How will you learn? Where will you learn?
I remember this, sir. I learn bells from bells.
Yes. You will come to know bells if you observe and listen. Seek your master, novice.
How will I find my master?
Any bell you meet is the face of all the bells. They are your master. Begin your journey. You will be guided. You will be taught. Where will you go first, magician?
I think I will go in the direction of the bell I heard. I'll find that bell and listen to that bell. Will it teach me?
It called you. It is waiting for you. Go to the bell, greet it, and reverently place your hand upon it. Let the sound of it rebirth you. Become a bell. At that bell, you may also find another human who loves that bell. They may be able to introduce you to their love and answer your questions and mentor you. After a time there, you will be led to the next part of your journey and onward. You will gather much within in preparation for wielding without. Eventually, your eye and your hand will meet and influence element. You will shape the wood to become a handle. You will form the crown and the waist of the bell from metal passing through fire and water. You will shape the molecules of the air with the wave of sound that you will calibrate in the relationship between the clapper and the lip. And since this is the sound of metal held by wood, you will understand this as a dialect of the element earth, since wood and metal are earth elementals. Novice, understand that desire, anima, from the ancient mother and from the element realm, will have been born to reality through your magical powers. Desire will go on to create scenes of appearance and enchantment that may now include a larger than usual handbell. Magician, bellmaster, you will call many bell beings to life. The world will be innovated by your bells. There will be more to love.
I am ready, Mother of Magic. But, I do have another question. What is a clapper and what is a lip?
And you will come to know. I would not remove the journey from you.
Okay, I get it. I do have one more question. Will I be able to find you where I am going?
You can call upon me wherever you are. You can speak to me through a bell. You have come to the tree to meet me. I have met you here at the tree. But please understand, I am not in the tree. The tree is in me.
I laugh when I see that the tree is me.
You now live in a human body. This body, this human, is a mesh of urges, emotions, wants, sensations, cravings, desire, inspiration, and so forth. We are moved to our next act by means of one compulsion or invitation or another. often with no or little awareness of these chains of reaction that constitute our identity and our behavior, and therefore our experience of our Earth timeline. I invite you to hear yourself and come to know yourself and your body, each portion of yourself as an individual being, which they are. One thing you can listen for is the desire in each part. You can also do a little proactive research and learning about what a part might desire from those who are basically body magicians, who hold knowledge that can bless and change and innovate our bodies. As just one very specific example, did you know that the liver is hungry for bitter herbs? Have you ever given the gift of bitter herbs to your liver? Consider perhaps the energy centers we call chakras. What are their each desire? Do you give those gifts to them and allow them to give those gifts to the whole? As you listen to your body and its parts and their desires, come to understand what leads you to cause and to induce change and to engage in method. Come to understand how your parts and their desires relate to and flower into and have the capacity to contribute to the efficacy and enjoyment of your magic, of your affinities, and of your arts. The portions of your body are constantly in the midst of great acts of service between one another. By this service, the parts weave together to become the whole avatar of you. Be in no hurry. Participate in their way instead of opposing. Desire is the desire to know. Knowing is touching, connecting, sharing. Thus, desire is the movement toward coupling. For magicians, we may tend to see this coupling as power source, consensual power source, for purposes of wielding, which it is. But ultimately, desire is to couple for its own sake, to give oneself or of oneself, and to receive another, simply for joy, and thus for affinity and for art. It may seem that when we desire what is different or other than us. Human lovers seem different. The magician seems different than the bell they will make. Bitter herbs seem very different to us, all at first glance. But desire is rather the magnetism, the attraction of what is like, which doesn't mean exactly the same. What was once one that has parted, and thus inexorably finds its way back. Desire. We remember the revelation that there never was an other, only ever the one. True nature within us desires true nature that surrounds us. We may sense this as inspiration. Frequency within us desires the frequency that is near us. We may sense this as inquiry, or maybe dancing, or singing, or maybe hugging. Water within us desires water without. We are thirsty. Fire within us desires fire without. We make arrangements for the regulation of our temperature. The mineral structures within require replenishment from mineral without. We hunger. The air within is obsessed with the air without. We breathe. And so forth. Like returns to like. Magnetism. Desire. What does your avatar desire to know, return to, couple with? Ask your body. Listen for reply. Continue to ponder this nature of magnetism as it relates to your art, the tools and processes of your art, and the beings and appearances that arise from the wieldings of your art. What desire is this? In my craft, what magnetism or coupling is natural and or can be induced and or invited and or acknowledged and or harnessed? What within me and or my body is seeking what is without in terms of my art and my appearances? Of course, often human urges result in harm to ourselves and to others. Not all human movements, magnetisms, compulsions, and cravings are worthy and safe. Some couplings constitute bondage and subjection and devouring. I am put in mind of Kianashi in Spirited Away, a very profound and instructive character in a very lovely movie. We have the opportunity to purify our desires. The state our avatar is in will produce given desires. The desires we consummate will produce our given state. What are we one with? What are we resonating with? What are we associating with? It's a loop, an interplay. If we find that we need to interrupt this loop in order to release debris and to head toward greater trustworthiness, again and always the first step is to slow down. It is to notice and be aware and listen somatically. Perhaps seek the mother. We may seek new resonances, new association. We may seek teachers, helpers, healers, adepts, mentors, masters, etc., that can help us unsubjugate our desires. Unsubjugate the kind and level of power and joy and connection that we are able to comprehend and embody. The English term desire has its roots in Latin, de Sidere, which means of the stars. I'm not a linguist historian, so don't take what I'm about to say as gospel, but perhaps the sense was that the astrological movements of the stars determined one's destiny. Destiny called for us, and we longed for that destiny. Perhaps even as we looked up to the night sky and stars and broadcast that longing into gods and futures. There was a quest that owned you. You could hear the Minotaur roaring. In this sense, desire is barely within agency, if at all. It is something inexorable within the workings of universe and earth life that pulls us into a given adventure. We do not create desire. It creates us. And indeed, your avatar was literally born, induced from desire, from the coupling of human bodies and human seed cells, the magnetism there. Everything manifest in the omniverse has its desire in it. Desire is inseparable from being, and therefore inseparable from appearance. Desire is the main word of the language of any being. If you can listen and observe, and come to understand the desire of a given being, you are on your way to fluency with their language. And you will have the capacity to speak to beings in terms of their desire. And that means that you will have influence with those beings, because to speak is to influence. In English, we tend to reduce the connotation of desire to mean I want. But in the magical understanding of the cosmos, desire is more like I live. But it is understanding living as a movement, and not just any movement, but the wave, the up and down, in and out, exhale and inhale, together and apart, and then back together. The dance, the laughter. Think about laughter. Laughter is the rapid oscillation between the punctuations of sound and silence. Frequency is oscillation code. Oscillation between poles. Is the arc between the poles a separation or a connection? Both. Desire is the oscillation between not having and having. It's a thin line between them. If you think about human lovers, and it's another person, and you are separate from them and unique from them, but in desire and obsession for your lover, it's like you have to breathe them. You are attempting to occupy the same space as each other. And you get close, and no matter how close you get, it's still too far. And no matter how far you get, you are still tied with a cord and are entangled. You are one another. And yet this union, this ecstasy, could not take place if there was not first the gift of separation, momentary separation. Separation for the purpose of coming back together. To go towards something requires that there must first be something afar. The afar is a deception, but such a lovely one, such choreography. Love making, Shiva's drum, the rhythm of heartbeat and pulse. And the way that I can describe human lovers is the way that the multi-metaverse lives and desires and is and appears. We are all in love with one another. Yes, we are expanding into individuation and freedom and entropy, but we are also all magnetized to one another in the process of collapsing into our original oneness. Without attractions, existence would disappear. Disappear. Ultimately, desire is the giving and receiving of one another. Yin and yang. Which is the deception? The white light or the rainbow? They are beloveds. They bespeak of one another. The way we have chosen words and concepts and categories in English has resulted in thinking that we have spirit on the one hand and material on the other. We say life, and we say consciousness, and we say desire. Even I have been talking about the layers of realm, which is useful at times. These are all category divisions. I invite you to release them. I tell you that the body is spirit, and that desire is life. I invite you to erase traditional categories of cosmos and no longer accept them as essential to the universe, but as invented ways of seeing. It's wonderful to see, but to see also suggests blindness of what and where and how we are not seeing. We choose what we see, and what we see has been chosen. We choose by seeing. I invite you to see that what you are surrounded by is the whole as it moves to become pattern after pattern, joy after joy. Maybe there is separateness, but maybe there is not. Such a fine line. Rather, there is the movement of being. The word for this is anima. The life and dance and desire and patterning and rhythm of the all, including the circumscribings of the all that we term appearances, the images that serve as veils, dancing veils. As a magician, you develop your ability to work with and within anima in order to cause change and invite life to take appearance according to your vision, your personal unique desire. A stone does not move, you may say. Ah, but it does. Listen more carefully. Be in no hurry. You will come to know that a stone moves as a stone moves. There is not, the Master Magician says. It is only for a moment. The seed of not bursts open into seedling and ripens into flower and then harvest. You said there was not, the novice queries the master. The reply, I meant there is. My Keys of Magic podcast or series is a curriculum that guides you precept by precept deeper and deeper into the understanding and practice of magic and into the arcana of the magician. This video you are now watching is the conclusion of an extended discussion that began with video Keys of Magic 105. In this discussion, I have been presenting material about desire and therefore about the cause portion, the not portion of the magical formula. I have also presented much regarding the environment we live in and interact with, what we term in English and in our mainstream conceptualization, the universe, and what magically I have been terming realm. Let us now review keys from the entire presentation that you may now possess and that may advance you in your magic. The key of Harmonic Library. The omniverse as it actually is an infinite continuum of states, unseen. Any appearance or experience that may be described or lived is a result of these states being rendered by observers, by avatar players. The continuum itself remains undisturbed, remains infinite, remains primordial and original. I will add a parable here given by David Foster Wallace for a very different audience. There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" The two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?" Earth appearances are not flesh. Earth appearances are not spirit. Earth appearance, including your own avatar, are images of harmonic states, the combination, the weaving thereof. You are literally a song. the key of PERCEPT. What one sees is what has appeared. The I as Cept. For the uninitiated, it is accepted that what appears is what is seen. For the magician, it is revealed to them the truth that what is seen is what has appeared. Repeat. What one sees is what has appeared. Rendering is done by means of the features and faculties of one's associated avatar, and as well by means of interpretation. The eye of the magician, outer and inner, is the primary sept, or cup, that induces image from the harmonics library. In other words, that attributes time, space, and other property to code potentials. Those having eyes will circumscribe by means of that eye. The observer, the creating observer. Key of Cept, vessel. The water is infinite. Put out your jar. Earth realm appearances are induced and anchored by elemental septs. Elements are user-friendly holographic code differentials of time, space, and other property, and keeping in mind that code is harmonic code. A true nature being is represented in a given realm by a vessel conjured of that realm. Earth is an element realm, so the vessels, i.e. the representations or images, are of element. Each being has its own magic with which it enters the earth realm for elemental participation, i.e. embodying. However, keep in mind that there remains an interplay with the eye and rendering of the observer, in this case the magician. Thus, determination of appearance and experience, again in this case for the magician, is in the parameters of a dynamic encounter or a cultivated knowledge link, not a predetermined essential appearance. The key of desire as word. Everything manifest in the omniverse has its desire in it. Desire is inseparable from being, and therefore inseparable from appearance. Desire is the main word of the language of any being. If you can listen and observe and come to understand the desire or desires of a given being, you are on your way to fluency with their language. In other words, you may have influence with those beings. Thinking of ourselves as a being, we are also moved to our actions by our desires. The state of our avatar is in will produce given desires. The desires we consummate will produce our given state. Desires are our language as well. Both for ourselves and regarding magic we do with other beings, desire is the seed that may fruit and harvest as seeing. The paradox is that we say desire is what is not, and yet desire is precisely the initial condition of what is, or at least what will be. Key of like to like, coupling, attraction, resonance, magnetism. I will now expand on the language of desire. Desire is the desire to know. Desire is the inexorable movement toward coupling and combination. There is gravitation within each realm that is in real time operating upon and within our beingness and our happenings. The knowing within true nature is deep oneness. This deep oneness is always the case among all beings and may be spoken through for purposes of influence and joy. The knowing within frequency is the oscillation, the choreography of yin and yang, and the yin in the yang and the yang in the yin. This is a dance of coming together, and if it is apart, it is for the purpose of coming together again. This movement allows procession so that stuff can happen, a universe can happen. The deep oneness of true nature remains, but within the oneness, this and that may emerge and may transform and may pass away and may come again. The oscillation dance, the dance of poles and the arc between them within beings may be understood and spoken through for purposes of influence and joy. The knowing within element is according to the patterns of the beings of water, air, fire, and earth, or whatever element system one interprets the world with. There is much that water, air, fire, and earth have to do with each other. They constantly couple like mad, and thereby give birth to many children, fully and immersively giving of themselves, without ever giving up one iota of themselves. The elemental magnetisms may be understood and spoken through for purposes of influence and joy. The manifestations and consequences of attractions at the appearance level, the ordinary world, are myriad and particular to given beings, but these may be learned by those with affinity and may be spoken through. Enchantment 100% is effective in terms of calling upon, leveraging human desire. When we are enchanted, it is because our desires have been spoken to and we have come under influence by this means. The overarching condition that the magician prepares in order to call an intended appearance is vessel, or cept, for the appearance. What makes a vessel effective for the appearance is the vessel's capacity to act as attraction, to be the like of that which is called. Thus, the magician must understand the attractions of both the vessel and of the potential appearance. There may also be a distinct path from potential to emergence. The path is also attraction. And sometimes path and vessel are distinct conditions. Sometimes they can be the same operation or instance. Depends on so many things. Remember that like does not mean exactly the same. Remember that appearance matches desire. Remember that a seed calls a flower. Remember that to make gold, one must have gold. Understand what your hoped for appearance desires, this word in that being's language, and then prepare the calling for it based on that desire word. Prepare the pollen for the bee. Like, but not the same. One reason that the uninitiated may struggle with magic is because they insist that they are different than their hoped for appearance. They expect the other to come to them. They accept this fallacy. I am not, this time and place are not, and the appearance must come to make us other, rescued. Rather, a time and space vessel of like must be prepared, and then like appearance emerges naturally. P.S. There are no empty magnetisms. If something is calling, if something is resonating, if something is loving, if something is attracting, there will be an emergence that is the like of it. Magnetism may be stretched but not severed. If one wishes to not be beholden to a magnetism, one cannot null those magnetisms to a vacuum, because one cannot sever oneself from the omniverse, because you are the omniverse. One must rather transform into new magnetisms one prefers. The resonance and magnetic abilities and condition recipes and preferred vessels of the magician are art-based. Thus, I could never describe all possible conditions. One would need a mentor in one's art. But I will continue to instruct in general principles that may be practiced simply and or applied and customized in one's art. The key of Anima. Location in time and space. Rendering. Also within the language of a being, and that is its desire, or at least extremely closely related, is how the being moves and or desires to move. Its movement is its being and living, the sound it makes, the song it sings. In the movement, there is also its secret lover and dance partner of stillness and silence. This is Anima. The omniverse is Anima, the union of all anima, the differentiated fractals of self that express Anima. When a magician paths, provides path and vessel for the emergence of an appearance, they must recognize how the being desires to move and prepare the conditions for that movement within the path and the vessel. The final key that I want to leave with you is, overall, there are no knots in the multi-metaverse. Nothing is missing. Everything is here. Everything is yours. Your access to everything is not dependent on what you think you are seeing and experiencing on the quote-unquote outside of you. Your access to the code field that is the omniverse, your access to Anima is within. And within means the capacities of your avatar and of your personal Anima. Although really, personal Anima is the Anima of all as well. Drop and ocean, ocean and drop. And within may also include the within of other beings with whom the magician has established knowledge, contribution of property and power from other beings. What the magician selects, sees, holds, and or prepares within, they may then project, send, wield outwards into the shared world. That sending is by path for anchoring in a rendering vessel. To animate a vessel. An animated vessel is an appearance. Please understand magical animation not as cartoons, nor as muscular or machinistic movement, but as anima. Anima is in everything and is everything. And here's the nugget of the key. The magician doesn't create the anima, of course not, but locates anima in time and space and renders the form. In other words, anima appears. So wielding is locating and rendering. The vessel is the location. The magician is also a located vessel. That's why they probably prefer to have their appearances located within the experience they are having and not located somewhere else. Located here, located now. The graphic I have on the screen was the last integration that I did on the magical formula. I also outlined phases of magic. But we are now going to scrap this a bit in order to update and advance on our integration of the magical wield, including the graphic representation of it. I had select realm, neutrality, and cause as the first three steps. And let us now understand them as one, which we will call stance. The stance of the magician. The magician is aware of their own arising from and within Anima. The magician is aware that their own being and their own avatar has been languaged from true nature, from frequency, from element, from appearance combinations, and from enchantment. Desire and cause are creative constants within the magician. The magician is walking desire. The magician understands and governs their own magnetisms and movements. As the magician encounters within their environment, they neutrally observe, hear, intake, within and without. They may greet, they may reply to greeting. They constantly and naturally manage the resonances of all their encounters and conversations. When I say naturally, I mean practiced until it becomes adept. When I say resonances, I may also say desire or magnetisms or movements. When I say manage, I mean influence. When I say conversation, I refer to magical communications that may or may not include human speech. Encounter is the magician's dance through and within Anima. When the magician is moved by desire to the point of intention for crafting an artisanal gift for the world, or any other need for a precision appearance or experience, they first craft an inner appearance. Then they prepare the conditions necessary for a projection of that inner appearance into the world. They hold a conversation with Anima as a trustworthy adept. The conditions will include their avatar's powers, or more accurately, channels of power and form projection. Conditions will include crafting path and vessel. All of this by consent and invitation, language, patterning, resonance, combinations, and couplings. All of this as the magician's real-time influence within and forming of Anima to birth differentially within the web of life. A new sibling. A located render. A joy. The arts you develop are traditional and or newly invented ways of animating, calling life force into an existence within our world. For the being the magician called to take up space and run a timeline. The magician births life. The magician as midwife. I love you and I want more of you. One major way a magician engages with the environment within which they exist in order to call appearance is in terms of attractions and likeness, i.e. desire. I want to make a tangential note. Way back in an early lesson in the series, I talked about how performing bad faith magic, meaning magic that may be highly skilled but that lacks reverence, cooperation, and consent, tends to be bad magic in terms of skill as well. Not impossible, but it's unstable. And what we have been learning about desire and anima is one reason why. Any magician that places themselves at odds with Tiamat, that is in tension with the power, with what is, has a wake-up call in store, to say the least. All that deep power in the universe is going to do is bring you back to it, because you belong to it. There's no permanent bypass. Any situation, for example, of non-consent is like a beacon call to the consent actuality in the universe and the world to flow there and rectify. So anything made without taking anima and its nature into account has a built-in expiration date, a collapse, when true nature and true desire that is being denied is going to blow the plug, and woe almighty. So keep that in mind when preparing and wielding your processes, if you are so inclined to be less than trustworthy. End of the note. I also want to remind you that one of the main portions of your practice right now, especially if you've been following along the series, is to continue to notice sensation within your body. You can do that anytime, anywhere, for any length of time. Riding the bus to work, for example, take a breath and get in touch with present sensations. As I describe some practices upcoming, whether or not I explicitly say notice sensation, always include that, or tap into that when you get more familiar with the practice. Eventually, as the magician, your stance approaching the world is to hear and observe your environment with your whole body. Your whole body is the eye, is the ear. And I call that intake and or connection with somatic signal sensation. Now keep in mind that while you may develop this constant magic stance, you also need sensory rest and renewal. No one can be on all of the time, not even a master magician. Please refer to the sensory rest practice given in Keys of Magic lesson video 45. The upcoming practices that I'm going to invite you to can be moved through relatively quickly for the first time, let's say 48 hours, maybe not even that much. But again, the point is to come to them over and over and to deepen and open yourself, develop yourself as the magician in these ways until they are you. So let's begin with some exercises. First, sit quietly and kind of ask yourself, feel into yourself regarding the desire you have for belonging, and then regarding your desire to be a unique individual. There is a human yin and yang between belonging and individuation. They can be balanced so that you experience the highest form of both. And they support each other. Those you belong to may support your individuality, and you use your individuality to support those that belong to you. This human axis is a bloom of one of the deepest axes of the omniverse. The place where the union and oneness of true nature embraces and interacts with the myriad of unique states that is the frequency field. The oscillation between belonging and individuating is happening all the time in the universe and the world. And desire is in both. You are attracted to, pulled to belonging. You are also pulled to individuation. There's desire in you for both. The desire for self, the desire for relationship. You have the opportunity to listen to yourself and to come to know yourself regarding what the balance of those two realities are for you, for your highest life health. You can also notice how belonging and individuation express in the art that you've chosen. You can also observe the world, listen to the world, starting with your village, in terms of union and separation. How is what you are seeing or otherwise experiencing expressing those two ways of being? And as you come to know the beings that are relevant to your art, you can ask and observe regarding this. For example, speaking of the four elements, how does water belong? How does it individuate? How does fire belong? How does it individuate? How does air and how does earth belong and individuate? And this may be with same to same element. It may be how the elements relate with each other. It will be how the elements each relate with you as the magician. And this is not trying to figure it out mentally and having a bunch of rules. It is asking your masters and listening as they whisper replies and show you little revelations. But as you understand things, you can then use them proactively to create recipes for calling, yeah? Second exercise. Start noticing all your impulses. They may be impulses of any speed, urges of the moment, deeper waves that keep you going toward maybe goals. Notice where in the body each impulse is located. And by the way, we have a lot of impulses related to body systems, like the stomach and the reproductive system, and those are chakra energy centers too. Even if you are living by impulses that are less than stellar, that you may not respect yourself for, notice. What is the desire in them? What is the like calling out for like in them? For example, not all of your eating may be hunger. Your eating may denote a desire for excitement. This is a revelation that opens up a palette of possibilities and preferences of how to call excitement into your life, other than the recipe or condition of eating. I'm not even asking you to quote-unquote fix yourself. This is listening to yourself. You may be ready for some changes, some purifications, some magic calling of yourself. Do as comes, but I'm not particularly assigning that. Just try to understand the desire mix in what moves you through your life. Be in no hurry. Be your own witness. Third, you may wish to list, perhaps in writing, list the things you want. And again, notice them. And here are a few examinations you may do. First of all, for most of us, some wants on that list are actually debris, including enchantment debris. Another examination. When you say that you want something, you mean that there is something you are in want of. And we just got done talking about how it's all there. But where? So where is it? If it's not in your here and now, where is it? And what could be a better located vessel or set of conditions that bring the want into your experience? Another examination is that you do have power for drawing these wants to you, but recognize that mutually they also have power over you. This is not necessarily a bad thing because desire is that coupling. But again, just make sure that you're coupling with what you want to be coupling with. Is there anything on that list that you would prefer did not have power over you? Which brings to another examination. What if nothing on that list of wants has anything to do with your desires? Now, only you can know that. I'm not telling you which is which. Only you can know what is debris for eventual release or a seed that can be cultivated to appearance. Keep listening and knowing yourself, your true nature, your frequency, your preferences, your empowerments, your affinities, your elements, etc. Let these desires also become your list of wants. Fourth, ponder and tap into the archetypal desire held within the magician arcana. The magician position in the personal transformation journey is where you become clear about your desires, your preferences, your power, and you become trustworthy and of service in all of this. The magician's desire is the desire to create and to share one's gift, one's art with the world or their community. The fool was off bouncing through the wide world and listening and absorbing that symphony. The fool, in becoming the magician, is saying, well then, here is my melody to add to the harmony. The fool listens to everyone sing. The magician is still listening, but also starts to sing themselves. If you are feeling other desires than the one I described, they may have to do with developments other than the magician, which doesn't mean you have to stop learning or being the magician, but just keep in mind there may be some alongside journeys for you. Fifth, be still and breathe. Breathing is desire. Breathing is you desiring the earth realm. You have breath. It is given to you by the earth, by your mother who loves you. You are loved by the earth. The consummation of this desire for air is given to you before you even ask. It's just there, and you breathe. Also, I invite you to practice a special kind of breathing, which is laughing. I talked about laughing in this video. You can physically laugh without an emotional reason. I didn't invent that practice. People do it. Laugh from your diaphragm. It does sound a little weird, but it's no weirder than never laughing at all. Also, when you are doing your village walks and observation, do some intentional laughing then. It can be quiet if you are shy of others hearing. Also, note sensation when breathing and laughing. These sometimes serve as direct connections for people to sense the hum of well-being. Sixth, out loud, ask the Ancient Mother, what is your desire of me? What desire did you breathe into me to form me? What and who do you want me to know? Remember that your mother will not give you a list of expectations and assignments, but will invite you into her wonder, into an engagement with what is already in motion and thus already being given from her. Perhaps do less attempting to cause yourself to move and more allowing of yourself to be moved. There is a balance between directing movement and allowing movement, but I would venture to say that in our modern world, most of us need to rebalance on the side of slowing and listening first, and then following deeper, freer desires. 7. Explore your faculties, your body's faculties, which are your magician's powers. What do yours desire? How do yours move? 8. Be willing to explore your current state of interpretation. This is an ongoing thing, but at least say hi. A question you can ask is, what am I not seeing? What will I not see? All right, this is the very closing of this video and the closing of the primer on desire that began in video 105, although of course we'll always talk about it. If you're still listening here at the end of the video, I welcome comments, whatever the subject matter has brought to your heart and mind. I'm going to close by reading some Rumi. Information about my Rumi source is in the video description. I begin the passage. When one is united to the core of another, To speak of that is to breathe the name, empty of self and filled with love. As the saying goes, the pot drips what is in it. The saffron spice of connecting, laughter. The onion smell of separation, crying. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent.